You're right there, folks. I thought I'd just have another video about language. This one about the change of meanings of some words over time, and also vestigial words, you know, traces of words that don't really exist or don't exist with that meaning anymore. I'm going to start off giving you a sentence in Swedish, and I'm going to translate it into English, just so we can compare. And I'll say the sentence quite slowly. Jag stod där med din kniv. Now that is a line from a song I like, from a band I like, Kent, who are a Swedish band, and we'll just translate that. It means I stood there with your knife. I stood, där, there, med, with, din, your, kniv, knife. Now pretty much all those words are very similar. It's a bit different, but trust me, we won't get into the history of that, but they are related if you know the word, the sound changes. Din, your, they look quite different, but just remember older English thine, which became thine, thy, thine, din, it's the same thing. The only word there in that Swedish sentence which is not a cognate of English is med, which means with. Now let's look at the other Germanic languages. German, mit, Dutch, mit, Swedish, as we said, mid, and English, with. So why is English different? Well, funnily enough, in Old English the word was mid. We didn't used to say with, we used to say mid, which is the same as all the other Germanic languages. And at a certain point the word mid changed to with. Now, you might say, who is with to oust mid? Where did with come from? You know, we'll look at that. But mid, with the old meaning with, has actually stuck around in some English words. Notably, the word midwife. Literally with wife. Remember, the word for with used to be mid. Midwife is with wife. Very nice, no? So yeah, where did with come from? To oust mid. Well, with actually existed as a word in Old English. It didn't come from nowhere, it didn't come from the ether. With existed in Old English, but obviously not with the meaning it has now. With actually meant against. So in Old English we had the word mid, which meant with, and with, which meant against. Which is quite weird when you think about it, because with and against are almost opposite in meaning. I mean, you're with us or you're against us. You know, with and against are pretty much opposite. But nonetheless, Old English against, which was the word with, changed its meaning to now mean what it means now, which is with. Which is pretty weird. But just like the older meaning of mid has stuck around, for example in midwife, with wife, you might ask, has with stuck around? And it has. What about withhold? Withhold doesn't mean to hold with someone, to agree with someone or stand with someone. No, withhold means to hold back. You withhold information. You hold it back, away from, you know? What about withdraw? It doesn't mean to draw in conjunction with someone, you know, withdraw. It means to draw back. You withdraw your troops, you withdraw your money, you draw them back, you take them back. You take them out. What about withstand? That doesn't mean I withstand you. That doesn't mean I stand with you, does it? It means I stand against you. And withstand, generally speaking, means to stand against successfully. So you see, with the older meaning of against has stuck around as well, which is quite funky. Now if we look back at the word midwife, I said that means with wife, which makes sense. The midwife is the woman who is with your wife. Except it's not quite that simple, because you see, wife is a funny word. I've got something in my eye here, which won't go away. Oh dear, it's the excitement, I'm getting emotional. Now with wife, midwife, which translates as with wife, doesn't actually mean the woman who's with your wife. You see, the word wife has actually changed its meaning too. Wife comes from the Old English word weef. The pronunciation changed because of the Great Vowel Shift several hundred years ago. But what did weef mean? Weef didn't mean wife. Weef meant woman. Okay. Now, if that sounds sexist or weird to you, don't get your knickers in a twist, because there was a separate word for wife in English. Old English weef meant woman, but there was a word for woman, and the word for woman was wife. What? Okay. The Old English word, in Old English, wife meant woman, and woman meant wife. So, at a certain point in the history of the English language, the word wife has changed its meaning to the opposite. You see, in Old English, wife meant woman, but now it means wife. In Old English, the word woman meant wife, but now it means woman. You see, they've crossed over, they've completely exchanged meanings, which is weird. Let me just give you the history. Old English weef meant woman. The pronunciation changed to wife, and now it means wife. The Old English word weefman meant wife, but its pronunciation changed to woman, and now it means woman, not wife. Now, weefman is interesting. What happened was the F, weef, dropped out of the word. This f and v sounds have dropped out of English a lot of times. Previous video, I talked about hlavord became lord, and the v dropped out. Likewise, weefman, the f sound dropped out to give us weeman. And now w is w with the lips, right? But I isn't. It's spread. However, the I sound, the vowel, took on some of those labial qualities of the w, and it mutated and changed. So what was weefman changed to weeman, changed to woman. And that's the phonetic history and the semantic history of those two words. They completely crossed over meanings. Weefman, incidentally, meant woman, adult male, so to speak, female adult male, because man didn't mean man, it meant adult human, and weef meant woman, and were actually meant man, and whence we get werewolf, which is a man wolf. Now, that was just a whole splurge of words. Perhaps you've got a headache, perhaps you're dizzy. I've given you tons of tons of stuff there, but I hope you found that interesting. The way that words die off but then stick around with strange meanings. That's the ancient meaning, and then words change their meanings all the time. But if any of that sounds perverse, wife changing to woman, woman changing to wife, against changing to with, if any of that sounds perverse or just bizarre to you, just look around you. It happens today. What about kids? They say sick when they mean healthy. They say bad when they mean good. If they seem like they're being deliberately perverse, just remember, that's not new. That kind of thing's been going around forever. And we can see a few examples there in that video. Alright folks, that's the lesson ended for today. See you later. Bye. Actually, you know what? I forgot to say one thing right now, and that is, have you ever noticed that singular, woman, woman, but yet we say plural, women? Women. Why do we say woman but women? Well, the fact that we changed the N to man, men is not strange, because we do that anyway with the word man, man, men, woman, woman. But why is it we say women but woman? Well, actually, because, like I just said, the us sound started out like an I, but it mutated to take on some of the characteristics of the W sound. So woman changed to woman. But for some reason, in the plural form of the word, that mutation never occurred. So we had a sound mutation occur only in the singular. But in the plural, we have the original vowel, which is women. So if that mutation hadn't occurred, we would have women and women. But we don't. So there we are. It's over now, okay? It's over. Get back to your real lives. I finished the video.